What is up, you guys? I am Miranda Rumpel. I am in the middle of building a 1983 AMC Spirit. I am turning it from a kind of 90s bracket racer to my dream version of a Spirit AMX. I enjoy making photo renderings of what vehicles could be. So this is the image that kind of kicked off this build. As soon as I started showing people this image, everyone got excited. With the help from Summit Racing, we are building this car in 1 year. We are planning on unveiling it at the Good Guys Festival in the beginning of July of 2025. And right now I am in the thick of it. So basically where we're at right now with the build is the car, the shell itself, and most of the pieces are in epoxy primer. Some of the pieces ended up getting sandblasted. Some of the pieces we just sanded down. I started with the roof. I did kind of the first stripe along the roof and just kind of took a DA to it. I just wanted to see what the heck I was dealing with. It wasn't too bad. So after that, I kind of just moved through and went to town with a DA on the passenger side. Before I knew it, bam, I was through all the clear, through a lot of the base actually. Once I had the passenger side done, I got my A-team together. I got some help to really knock out some of the sanding and some of the prep. I had Big Steve. He helped out on the door jambs. He gave those a good once over with some 120. Brandon was kind of all over the place. He was doing the cowl. He was kind of being a supervisor, making sure that everybody was kind of on task. You will see Woj, he was sanding on some of the small parts, so the pieces for the spoiler and the bumper end caps and that good stuff. I had my dad come out. I assigned my dad a certain task. I really think that one of the biggest spots that is neglected on a show car is the drip rails. Like behind the drip rails here, I feel like they're always either dry spray or they weren't prepped good enough, the sanding wasn't that good. After that, we got a ton of the car knocked out that day. All right, we are getting pretty close to being able to put some color on the car. It is pretty much stripped. All of the parts are off. I'm ready to spray some primer on it. I'm gonna show you guys how it looks right now. So we've basically just got a shell here. Everything's off of it, inside and out. There are some spots that we have discovered that we want to repair. So in here, you can see that none of this is really pretty. But there's this cracking here, which we ended up finding some filler. That's gonna get ground down and repaired. This rocker is pretty concerning. Like, what the heck? So all of that is gonna get ground down and repaired. Obviously, we're doing some fab in the engine bay, but I want to get some primer on the body so we can get rid of this yellow. I'm sick of looking at the yellow, and it's gonna be time to spray this car before we know it. So today I'm gonna be spraying this epoxy primer as pretty much a base for this body. You can see that I hit metal in some spots while blocking the car down, and I basically want to ensure that I'm getting a good grip and coverage on those raw metal parts before I go in with anything else. So today is an epoxy, and then once that base is on, I'm going to go in with the one and only feather fill, which will make our lives a lot easier when it comes to sanding and blocking this car, getting it nice and straight for a nice metallic paint. Let's do it. gonna put 4 parts of the primer itself and then 1 part of the hardener here. And I always like to mark my cup where with a Sharpie and how much of each so I know when I'm pouring it. It's just easier to see. Alright, got the primer mixed, got my hair pulled back, I'm ready to put it in the gun, spray it on this car, and watch it turn gray. Let's do it. What is up, you guys? I am in the garage with no body of the Spirit, but a bunch of pieces to it. We are prepping all of the parts for paint. As you can see, the fenders are untouched. We started to do some metal work and prepping on the doors, but the goal for now is to get all of these small parts prepped so I can get them in epoxy primer, and then before we know it, some high build feather fill primer, and then we're on our way to getting the body straight and all how it needs to be before we put color on it. So this is the current state that the small parts are in. They've kind of been neglected. As you can see, they're all over the place. Some of these are metal. These are the end caps for the rear of the car. These are the end caps for the spoiler. These are plastic, like a hard plastic. And then these are like a rubbery, softer plastic for the top of the bumper. So all different types of materials here. Obviously the fenders, those need a lot of work. So yeah, we're gonna scuff all this stuff down. They've been sitting outside if you can't tell. Scuff it all down so we can get them in primer. Brandon is working over here on the doors. We ended up sending these out to get sandblasted, and he's already started working on the repairs that needed to happen here from all the rust, because they came back a little sketchy. As you can see, some of the remnants here, they came back a little holy. So Brandon's been doing his work, getting them all fixed so I can do my work on filling where they need to be filled and priming them and eventually putting color on them. All right, while we are sanding, I don't want my engine to get dust and metal shavings all over it. So I actually ordered a engine cover from Summit. I love repping them. So my blanket's gonna go, and this is gonna be its replacement. It's nice because it goes all the way around the bottom and it has a drawstring, so it can really be tight in there. So yeah, let's put this on and then we're gonna keep it going. So I'm going over all these small parts. I want to make sure that they actually are ready for primer. So just doing a once over on those. I want to show you what Brandon's into over there. What you got?
Getting a new lip for this guy. The old one disintegrated. So it's kind of how it's going to go. I'll weld it up there flush and then lay a bead all the way across the bottom without warping it, so hopefully that come out pretty straight. A lot of measuring, a lot of rollers. But yeah.
Over here I'm hitting this stuff with 120 right now. Like I said, I just want to go over this stuff really quick. I've got 2 more small parts left, and then I am really excited to get into these fenders. All right, you guys, it is the next day, and as you can see, the fender is still behind me and it is still yellow. The other fender I didn't even touch because what ended up happening was, and you guys will see me sanding on the fenders and on the hatch with Woj, but as soon as I started getting into it, it was kind of the same story as with the doors. As soon as I broke through the clear and then started getting into the paint and looking at the back side of the panel, there is some sketchy stuff going on with the metal, and I don't personally want to look over that and just prime over it and pretend like I didn't see it. I don't want to fill over the little spots and then just know that it wasn't done right. So what I'm gonna end up doing is taking these fenders and the hatch to go get sandblasted like I did with the doors, because I just wanna know that it is all stripped how it should be so we can really treat all of the rust. This paint is hiding a lot. And especially the fenders, the back side of them have the same undercoating that's under the car. So really thick stuff that's hiding this rust and not fun stuff on these panels. So yeah, today the plan is to continue on the doors. I'm gonna prime the doors and prime the small parts. The fenders are gonna go bye-bye with the hatch and get blasted. Those will come back, and then we'll address any of the spots that need to be addressed on there. We're not really gonna miss out on any time because the shell needs a lot of love too. So there's plenty of stuff that I can do while these parts go get blasted. So yeah, let's do it. So this is pre-clean. We're gonna hit all of the parts with this on a rag. It basically is like a wax and grease remover. It's gonna get rid of any of the dust from sanding, any of the metal shavings from all the grinding and stuff that was going on in here, and any dirt and debris that would stop the primer from sticking to the parts. So yeah, we'll be going over everything with this. Alright, so Brandon is so kindly putting pre-clean on these parts for me. And all the plastic stuff is going to get this adhesion promoter. I like to spray everything that's plastic with this stuff because I have had weird stuff happen before with paint and it bubbling up on plastic parts. So this is kind of my little comfort blanket for anything that's plastic. I like to spray it on there before I put any paint because it just kind of ensures that the paint is actually going to stick to the plastic. All right, so I let my compressor catch up. It is ready. I am pretty much ready. I've got my mask, I got the gun set up. Now I'm just going to mix this primer, probably do a full cup of it, and we're gonna be ready to go. So I am using epoxy primer right now. It is the same primer that I use to spray the shell of the car so far. And eventually all of these parts are going to get feather fill primer as well. These are some of the last pieces that are yellow. Pretty soon, none of this car is gonna be yellow anymore. It's going to really start resembling its new version of itself and not its old version of itself, which is really crazy to me. So yeah, let's get this mixed up. So with primer, whenever I am stirring in the can, I always like to pull the stick up, and you wanna see it like a consistent drip coming off of the stick. If it looks like a big clump and then liquid at the top, it's not mixed well enough. Primers are really heavy, so you want to make sure that they are mixed to a consistent weight. I guess mixed to a consistent thickness, I guess is a better way of saying that.